A single Chinese missile costs $15 million. The American aircraft carrier it's designed to destroy costs $13 billion. That's an 867-to-1 cost ratio, and China has hundreds of those missiles pointed at U.S. ships right now. The DF-26, they call it the Guam killer, can reach 4,000 kilometers. The DF-21D can strike a moving aircraft carrier from over 1,500 kilometers away. For years, the U.S. Navy had no answer to that. But right now, something is quietly changing on the decks of American warships. Something that fires at the speed of light. Something that costs less than $1 per shot. And China has absolutely no defense against it. What you just heard isn't speculation. It isn't a concept on a drawing board. Some of it is already deployed on active U.S. Navy destroyers and was confirmed in real combat operations just weeks ago. This is the story of how the American military is quietly building the most advanced ship defense system in human history, and why the men and women serving aboard those ships may soon be the most protected sailors in the world. Stay with us, because what comes next is the part most people never get to hear. Introduction. For decades, the United States Navy ruled the seas unchallenged. Aircraft carriers, the most powerful warships ever built, projected American power to every corner of the globe. Wherever a crisis broke out, the first question from Washington was always the same: where are the carriers? But China was watching, and China was calculating. Beijing understood something important. You don't need to build a better navy to defeat a better navy. You just need to make it too dangerous for that navy to show up. So while the U.S. focused on carriers, China quietly built a wall of missiles. Long-range, fast, maneuverable missiles designed to do one thing: sink American ships before they ever get close enough to matter. And for a while, that strategy was working. War games and Pentagon simulations were showing results that made senior commanders deeply uncomfortable. The numbers were not good for the U.S. side. But something shifted. The Navy started pouring resources into a technology that most people associate with science fiction: directed energy weapons. Lasers. Microwave cannons. Systems that fire at the speed of light and can engage dozens of threats without ever running out of ammunition. This is not a future program. This is happening right now. If you think America's military still has what it takes to protect its ships and its sailors, type proud in the comments below. Let's see how many of you are with us on this. The threat. Before we talk about the shield, you have to understand exactly what it's up against. Because the threat China has built is unlike anything the U.S. Navy has faced since the Second World War. China currently operates 5 types of anti-ship ballistic missiles. 5. Each one designed specifically to hunt and destroy American warships. The DF-21D was the first of its kind in the entire world, the first missile ever built specifically to destroy a moving aircraft carrier. It carries a maneuverable warhead, meaning it can adjust course during flight to follow a ship trying to escape. It re-enters the atmosphere at hypersonic speeds, and it has a reported accuracy of around 20 meters, roughly the length of 2 large trucks on a vessel the size of a city block. Then there's the DF-26. Range, 4,000 kilometers. That puts Guam, Japan, and virtually every U.S. base and ship in the Western Pacific within its reach. The Chinese military has between 250 and 400 launchers for this missile alone. And in August of 2020, China fired one of them at a moving ship target in the South China Sea. It worked. Now there's the DF-27. In December of 2025, the Pentagon confirmed that China has deployed intercontinental anti-ship ballistic missiles, weapons capable of reaching the United States West Coast. Let that sink in. China can now target American ships from Chinese soil across the entire Pacific Ocean. And just 3 months before that, in September of 2025, China's Victory Day parade revealed 3 brand new hypersonic anti-ship missile systems that the world had never seen before. One of them uses a scramjet engine, the same technology used in experimental hypersonic aircraft, to fly at sustained hypersonic speeds all the way to the target. There is currently no operational defense system in the world designed to stop a scramjet-powered missile. The math is brutal. One U.S. Navy aircraft carrier strike group carries roughly 90 aircraft and over 6,000 sailors. China can fire a salvo of these missiles faster than any existing defense system can engage them all. Pentagon war simulations have acknowledged that concentrated carrier strike groups present extremely lucrative targets in this environment. The U.S. military knew it had a serious problem, so it went to work on something that completely changes the equation. The first layer, ODIN. The first layer of the energy shield is called ODIN. That stands for Optical Dazzling Interdictor Navy. And right now, it is already installed on multiple active U.S. Navy destroyers and has seen real combat. ODIN is a soft-kill laser system. Instead of physically destroying a missile or drone, it blinds it. It burns out the sensors the enemy uses to find and track the ship. No sensors, no guidance. No guidance, no hit. The Navy first installed ODIN on the USS Dewey back in 2019. Since then, it's been expanded to several other Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. But here's what made headlines just recently. On February 28, 2026, the U.S. Central Command released footage from Operation Epic Fury, the American strike campaign against Iran. In that footage, analysts confirmed visual evidence of the ODIN system deployed aboard a destroyer in the carrier task group actively conducting Tomahawk missile strikes. That was the first confirmed combat deployment of a Navy-directed energy system during a major U.S. military operation. Think about what that means. While one destroyer was firing cruise missiles at targets in Iran, another was running its laser system to protect the force from drone retaliation. The energy shield was on. And it worked. ODIN fits into the ship's layered defense architecture. Long-range surface-to-air missiles handle threats at distance. Medium-range systems cover the mid-layer. And ODIN sits at the inner layer, silently burning out the eyes of anything trying to get through. But ODIN is just the beginning. And what comes next is significantly more powerful. HELIOS, the hard killer. Before we go further, if you haven't yet, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 90% of viewers watch without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a massive difference to this channel. Hit that subscribe button now, and let's keep going. The second layer of the energy shield is called HELIOS. High-energy laser with integrated optical dazzler and surveillance. Where ODIN blinds, HELIOS destroys. HELIOS is a 60-kilowatt class laser system developed by Lockheed Martin. It is installed on the USS Preble, an active Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. And in 2024, it shot down a drone in a real-world test, the first time a Navy shipboard laser system destroyed an aerial target in a genuine test environment. Then they raised the bar. In a follow-up demonstration, HELIOS engaged and destroyed 4 drones in a multi-target scenario. Not 1. 4. In sequence, with 0 missiles expended. Here's why that matters so much. During recent operations in the Red Sea, U.S. warships were firing million-dollar surface-to-air missiles to destroy $200 Houthi drones. The math was unsustainable. The magazines on these ships are not infinite. Every interceptor missile used against a cheap drone is one less missile available to stop an actual threat. HELIOS fixes that problem. Its magazine is effectively unlimited as long as the ship has power, and it costs virtually nothing per shot compared to any conventional interceptor. But here's the part that will really get your attention. HELIOS at 60 kilowatts is powerful enough to handle drones and cruise missiles at close range. The Navy is already working on scaling it up to 120 kilowatts. And beyond that, there's a program designed specifically to handle the Chinese anti-ship ballistic missile threat directly. And that program involves something entirely different from lasers. The microwave weapon, METEOR. Here's where the story gets genuinely extraordinary. Lasers burn. Microwaves fry electronics. And there's a crucial difference when it comes to dealing with China's most dangerous missiles. A hypersonic maneuvering warhead traveling at several times the speed of sound is extremely difficult to burn through with a laser before it reaches the ship. But a high-power microwave weapon doesn't need to burn through anything. It sends an invisible pulse of energy that overloads and destroys the electronics inside the missile, the guidance chips, the sensors, the targeting computers. The warhead goes blind and deaf instantly. The Navy calls this program METEOR, high-power microwave-directed energy, and the budget documents for this program explicitly name the threat it's designed to defeat: China's anti-ship ballistic missiles. The Pentagon's own documents state that the joint force currently lacks sufficient options against the specific threat posed by Chinese anti-ship ballistic missiles in the Pacific theater, and that METEOR is the answer. The U.S. Navy's target is to have a shipboard prototype of METEOR ready for integration and testing by the end of 2026. That is this year. The advantages of this system are significant. It has a deep magazine. Just like lasers, it doesn't run out of rounds. Its cost per shot is extremely low. It can engage multiple targets in rapid succession. And crucially, it can potentially defeat threats that would be very difficult for conventional interceptors to handle at all. The Navy has also been clear that this system is prioritized specifically for the Indo-Pacific Command Area of Operations, the theater where China's missile forces are concentrated. This is not a generic anti-drone weapon. This is the U.S. Navy's purpose-built answer to the DF-26 and its siblings. Now, up to this point, we've talked about systems that are operational or in late testing. But what the U.S. military is planning to put on the water in the next decade takes everything to a completely different level. The Future Shield, Songbo, Hellcat, and the new battleship. In June of 2025, the Navy awarded a contract worth nearly $30 million to a company called Coherent Aerospace and Defense. The project is called Songbo. Songbo isn't a single powerful laser. It's a new approach entirely, combining multiple 50-kilowatt laser modules together using advanced beam control technology to achieve a total output of 400 kilowatts. Think of it like combining multiple spotlights into one focused beam of extraordinary intensity. The goal is a weapon powerful enough to physically destroy anti-ship cruise missiles in flight. Running alongside Songbo is a program called Hellcat, High Energy Laser Counter Anti-Ship Cruise Missile. Hellcat is targeting a 300-kilowatt class system specifically engineered to intercept cruise missiles before they can reach the ship. The Navy has been blunt about what this program is for. The name says it. Counter anti-ship cruise missiles. That means the YJ-18s that Chinese submarines carry, the YJ-12s on their bombers, the long-range precision cruise missiles that China has stockpiled by the thousands. And then there's the big one. On December 22, 2025, the Trump administration announced a plan to build a new class of guided missile battleships for the U.S. Navy. They're called Trump-class battleships, the first of which will be named USS Defiant. These ships are designed from the ground up as directed energy platforms. Each one is planned to carry two 300-kilowatt lasers, two 600-kilowatt lasers, and 4 ODIN systems, all operating simultaneously. The first battleship is targeted for procurement in the early 2030s. The Navy's top officer, Admiral Daryl Caudle, said something at a recent naval conference that captures exactly what the U.S. military is trying to build. He said, and these are his words, "If it is in line of sight of a ship, the first solution we're using is directed energy." Point defense needs to shift to directed energy. It has an infinite magazine. An infinite magazine. That is the strategic goal. A ship that can fight off wave after wave of incoming missiles, hypersonic, ballistic, cruise, swarm drones without ever running dry. A ship that gets more dangerous the longer a battle lasts, not less. The Navy is even considering nuclear propulsion for these battleships, not for weapons, but to generate the enormous amounts of electricity that these energy systems require. A nuclear-powered directed energy warship would essentially be a self-sustaining fortress at sea, and the implications for the Pacific extend far beyond any single ship. The U.S. military's concept is called distributed maritime operations, spreading forces across wider ocean areas so they're harder to target with massed missile salvos. Energy shield-equipped warships in that distributed formation would each provide their own defensive bubble, overlapping to create a network shield across an entire fleet. The honest picture. Now, a program like this deserves an honest look, because not everything is perfect, and the men and women developing these systems would be the first to say so. Lasers can be affected by weather. Thick fog, heavy rain, and salt spray at sea can reduce their effective range. That's a real limitation in the Pacific Ocean, where weather conditions can be extreme. It's one reason why the microwave weapon METEOR is so important. Microwave energy is far less affected by atmospheric conditions than laser beams. Power generation remains a challenge. These energy systems require enormous electrical power. Current destroyers were not designed to generate that level of power, which is one reason why new ship classes with greater power generation and potentially nuclear propulsion are being prioritized. And China keeps improving its missiles. The DF-26D variant revealed in September of 2025 is already being speculated to carry additional warheads and possibly hypersonic glide vehicles. The contest between offense and defense never stops. But here's what's undeniable. The United States military recognized the threat, committed serious resources to solving it, and is now fielding real hardware. ODIN is deployed and combat confirmed. HELIOS has destroyed real targets. METEOR is on track for shipboard testing this year. The Trump-class battleship is funded and designed. The trajectory is clear. Conclusion. For decades, China's strategy was built on one core assumption, that American ships couldn't survive inside the missile zone. That assumption is being systematically dismantled, one directed energy system at a time. The sailors aboard those destroyers today are operating with technology that didn't exist on warships a decade ago. And the sailors who will serve on the Trump-class battleships in the next decade will have something no navy in history has ever carried into battle. A weapon that fires at the speed of light, never runs out of ammunition, and gets more effective as power generation improves. The energy shield is real, it's growing, and it's the answer to China's carrier killers that the U.S. Navy spent years developing in the shadows. If this video gave you something new to think about, hit that like button right now and make sure you're subscribed. You won't want to miss what's coming next on this channel.